0 times infinity equals -1. Sit with that for a second, not as a joke, not as a trick, as a statement that a sincere, careful student could arrive at by following the rules exactly as taught. Here's how it happens. There is a theorem about perpendicular lines. If two lines meet at exactly 90 degrees, one with slope m1, the other with slope m2, then their slopes satisfy one elegant relationship. m1 times m2 equals -1. It is a beautiful result. Clean, symmetric. The kind of equation that feels inevitable once you see it. Now here's the question I want you to genuinely sit with. What are the most obviously perpendicular lines you can think of? The x-axis and the y-axis. They meet at the origin. They cross at exactly 90 degrees. There is no pair of lines more perpendicular than these two. So naturally, you plug in their slopes. The x-axis is perfectly horizontal. It does not rise or fall. Slope equals 0. The y-axis is perfectly vertical. For every step you take horizontally, you take none. The run is 0. Rise over run. Something over 0, and here's where it gets interesting. As a line gets steeper and steeper, as its angle approaches 90 degrees, its slope grows. 10, 100, 1,000, approaching infinity. So the slope of the y-axis feels like it should be infinity. That is the intuition. That is where the mind goes. And so you write it down. m1 times m2, 0 times infinity equals -1. And something feels deeply wrong. It should, because it is. 0 times infinity is not -1. 0 times infinity is not anything clean. It sits in a category mathematicians call indeterminate, a form where the usual rules of arithmetic simply stop working. So, what went wrong? Not your reasoning. Your reasoning was completely natural. What went wrong is that the theorem has a boundary condition, a quiet, easy-to-miss clause that changes everything. The property m1 times m2 equals -1 holds if and only if neither line is vertical. Read that condition carefully. Slope is defined as rise divided by run. For a vertical line, the run is exactly 0, and division by 0 is not infinity. It is undefined. The slope does not exist, not infinite, not very large, not approximately anything, simply undefined. And a formula that multiplies two slopes has nothing to work with when one of those slopes does not exist. The x-axis and the y-axis are perpendicular. That is absolutely true. But the theorem cannot confirm it. Not because the theorem is wrong, because the theorem was never built to handle this case. This is one of the most important ideas in all of mathematics. Every theorem lives inside a domain. Every formula has a boundary. And the most dangerous mathematical mistakes are not made by people who ignore the rules. They are made by people who apply the rules one step outside the region where the rules were designed to live. 0 times infinity is not -1. It is a question the theorem was never meant to answer. Now you know where the boundary is. Which formula do you want to explore next? Drop it in the comments.